Hello Aquarius, welcome to your October 2020 overview reading. This is good for you if you're a sun, moon, or rising Aquarius. I know it's been a while since I've done a video. I needed a break, had some life stuff come up, and here we are. So we're just going to dive into these October readings. But if you would like to stay up to date with me and make sure that you get updates from me, make sure you follow me on Instagram at Onyx Healing. You're welcome to sign up for my newsletter. The link is in the description box, and you will get a reading every Sunday from me. It's amazing. Definitely sign up for it. And without further ado, I'm going to lay this spread out and then we will get started. All right, so this is a Celtic cross. It's just rearranged a little bit different so I can fit everything on the table. But let's start with your oracle cards. First thing, defend your tenderness. So when it comes to things like sensitivity, tenderness, desires, emotions, like there really isn't a reason to harden. There may be some things that need to be worked out in terms of how you express it and work with it in order to make it more supportive rather than detrimental. Like that is the main thing about defending your tenderness, is like if you just project a bunch of unprocessed stuff onto people, that's not good. That's not helping anyone. But the tenderness, the sensitivity is not inherently bad. It's about what you're doing with it, how you're working with it, and how you are expressing it. So don't shut it off or cut it off at all. That's not the goal here. The goal is to accept it, love it, hold it, be tender with it, that sensitivity piece, and then also make sure you're expressing in a healthy way. And then we have Owl, follow your intuition. So the feeling, the guidance when you're kind of in silence or a meditative state or whatever you like to do, listen to the feeling of the yes or the no. Where is the nudge? Where is the pull guiding you? And then we have gifts. What you innately have does not require permission to use. Share your magic in ways that feel good. Profit from your gifts or don't. Either way, you're worthy. So this is about not putting pressure on anything, any of your gifts. Like gifts can be something that you sell or use for your career or don't use for your career. Because I know that a lot of people get stuck around like the idea of passion, like, oh, I need to make money from my passion or hobby or whatever. Not necessarily. It really does not require that at all. So it's all up to you. All of this is a choice. Now let's see what the central energy is for October. We have the Chariot, forward movement, high speed. Things are moving along. Let's see what the crossing energy is so I can get a little bit more context. We have the new moon. Planting seeds. I think that, you know, the new moon is about like fertile soil, right? All of the fresh land that you have, your job really is to figure out what is it that I want to plant in this fertile soil. And then moving forward with your intuition, with your gifts in tow, and just allowing your soul to push you, your intuition to push you and guide you into your next moves. But it's kind of like chaos and turbulence isn't a requirement for forward movement. And so if you're associating chaos with speed, you need to unlink those two things because those are not the same. So just watch yourself for how much stress you're either seeking out or wanting or are accustomed to. Try to tease that apart this month so that you can focus in, plant what you want, move forward in a way that feels good. What you have shifting out is the Two of Cups. So this is, I'm getting either hyper focus on relationships or connections that really weren't serving you in some way, or maybe you're just focusing on something different, right? So like, let's say you just got into partnership and that's something that feels really good, is really stable. And now maybe you're moving on to having new desires, planting those seeds. Or maybe you're just shifting focus from that in some way, shape, or form, even if the relationships are platonic somehow or professional or whatever. It doesn't really matter the nature of the relationships. It's all about just the connection itself. So I'm getting that you have fresh inspiration and things that are being pursued in the month of October, which is exciting stuff. The oncoming energy is the Five of Cups. So this is about where is your attention and focus? Where are your eyes fixed? Because where you're focusing, what you have your attention on will grow and will expand. And so the Five of Cups, I said this in the Virgo reading, but it's the energy of turning a molehill into a mountain. You want to be careful with that, because I'm just getting that this doesn't, you don't need to turn a molehill into a mountain. You really don't. It's the mental body that does that. And if you just let the emotions override you completely, you're going to do that over things that you wouldn't otherwise. So to clarify, we have the Seven of Arrows. This is the Seven of Swords. Okay, so this is very similar to what I was saying here with unlink, stress, or chaos and speed. There's something about this card that looks very disjointed in the right ways. So it's kind of like, let's say you were having a bad day, just emotionally, and then you got a speeding ticket and you made it some like massive issue about how God doesn't love you and everything is falling apart. That is what the Five of Cups has a tendency to do, is inflame like the perception of pain or giving things meaning when really they don't necessarily mean anything. It might just be neutral. And so the Seven of Arrows is saying, unhook them, unlink them. Like, don't make everything mean something when it might not. So there's a level of neutrality that's coming here, and kind of like compartmentalizing different things. I actually think that would be a good practice for you, so that you don't make everything more inflammatory than it ought to be. And so the Seven of Arrows, I know that that's not normally what the meaning is, but it just looks very scattered in this card. And so I think that if you let things be separate, if you let things have their own compartment, that will serve you best. And then the outward manifestation, we have the Ten of Wands. So this is you applying a lot of unnecessary pressure on yourself. I told you here, look out for stress. If you seek out stress or have an association between like, in order to be successful, I have to be under a lot of stress, or in order to do blah, 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 this thing that I want, I have to put a lot of pressure on myself. That's what you want to be careful of in the month of October, because it doesn't have to be. So just know you can have a lot of stuff going on, but the amount of stress that you apply to yourself and the amount of pressure that you put on yourself is optional. That's totally optional. So it's kind of like, you know, you can make it as stressful or as easy as you desire, as you wish. You know, like if you're putting a bunch of deadlines on yourself, that's your choice. Nobody's forcing you to create a bunch of deadlines. In the subconscious, we have the Three of Pentacles, so doing work here. You know, a lot of stuff has been coming up around the mind, the internal world for other signs as well. And I think that you're not an exception to that, in the sense that the subconscious needs to be addressed. The programs that are going on in the background, that's what needs to be addressed. And so the more you can apply your attention and effort to what's happening in the subconscious or in the programs that haven't been tended to, the better off you're going to be in October. The advice for you is the Three of Wands. So think about, similar to this new moon card, it's look at your plot of land, all of the fresh space that you have in your life. What do you want to plant? Now that you have all of this energy that can go anywhere you want it to go, what do you want it to turn into, evolve into? What seeds do you want to plant now that are going to turn into full-blown trees later on that bear fruit? So really think about the long game, but act now with the small steps that serve you in the long term. Now, the external influences, we have the Lovers. This is choices, decisions. This is, for those of you who literally have partnership in your life, that is going to be an influence on your experience in the month of October, whatever that may be. And I want to be clear, this is neutral. So your projections on whether or not it's going to be good or bad, that's your call. Like, that's your projection. But the Lovers itself is neutral. It's, the choice, the decision, the relationships in your life, how much of an impact they do or don't have, the connection and community around you, how much of an impact that does or doesn't have. All of that is choice. All of that is decision on your end. So I'm getting that relationships matter, or at least quality of relationships matter this month, and you really figuring out what that looks like for you in practice, who you have in your environment. If you're feeling really dissatisfied in the relationships in your life, just ask yourself, what are my standards? What are my values? Are the things in the relationships that I have around me, are they in alignment with those desires and values? Hopes and fears, we have Justice. So I'm getting that you want some balance, harmony. This is like, can't things just smooth out, is what the Justice card is reflecting to me. So again, the main thing here is that's an internal practice. The internal practice of things being neutral, non-issues, things being easy, things being stable. You're the one who ultimately creates that, because we know different people can respond to the same situation in a completely different way. And the difference is the internal state that you're holding. So capitalize on that practice, because there might be part of you that wants to resist peace and calm because you might be used to stress, dysfunction, and chaos, right? So that's where the fear piece comes in. I'm getting this as more of a hope card, in the sense that you probably want to create more stability and balance for yourself. And then the outcome of the month, we have the Hierophant. This is all about structure, order, boundaries. Yes, yes, yes. You making decisions and also holding boundaries within yourself as well. Like, what boundaries do you need? I'm going to clarify this for you. Ten of Wands. Okay. So this is a matter of the boundaries have to do with putting things on the back burner where necessary. Not everything needs to go on the back burner, right? But you might be giving a ton of energy to things that really don't make any sense, or don't serve you, or aren't what you want to plant in the ground. So get really clear when you're in that space of wanting to give energy to something. Just ask yourself, do I want this plant to grow? And if not, then you really need to set some boundaries and limits around yourself. Let's do a 3-card pick. Ask for guidance, clarity, support, whatever you need. If you need more time, pause the video. Card number 1, we have the Hermit. So tuning into your own guidance, for one, this is a very meditative, contemplative card. And so the Hermit is just reflecting to you that's where clarity and answers can come from. That's where stability is going to grow from. So allow yourself to kind of go into that empty space in order to work that out. This is also about freeing yourself from dependence on the external, and knowing that you can self-source the things that you need. I know that people don't like buying into that. I don't personally think it's a good idea to look at the external as the source of all things. Like, I just think that's setting yourself up for failure, because the external shifts and life happens. And so the more you can pull that back for yourself, the better off you're going to be. Card number 2, we have the Fool. So old habits, patterns, and behaviors are not going to deliver new and fresh results. So you have to come from a perspective of, okay, what do I want? What do I need? Is this in alignment with me? Is this not in alignment with me? And then take a fresh approach in the areas that are requiring a different version of you. So you can't bring the same version of you into circumstances and expect a different result. So take inventory and then act from that fresh, aligned space in order to get to where you want to go. Card number 3, we have the Lovers, connection, harmony, union, partnership, love, also decisions and choices, kind of like being at a crossroads. So this is either doubling down on calibrating yourself in healthy connections and partnerships and relationships of all varieties, right? I'm not putting any limits or restrictions on what that looks like for you. This is all about you doing the internal work and bringing that into connection. So enjoy this, capitalize on it, and also know that if you're facing like decisions or contemplation or anything, just lean into what does the best and highest expression of myself really want in this moment? Where are my desires pulling me? Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, everybody. If you would like to know which decks I use, they are listed in the description box. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Onyx Healing. Take a moment to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Make sure you leave a comment and a thumbs up if you feel called to. And sign up for my newsletter. Check me out on other social media platforms. And until next time, have a beautiful October, everybody, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.